Hello everyone, and welcome to this 15-minute workshop presentation on exploring cultural humility. Thank you for your time and interest in what I hope you will find to be a very useful topic. I am Nakia McWilliams, coordinator of clubs and organizations and leadership programs here at California State University, Northridge. I am here and honored to walk with you through your leadership development journey. This workshop presentation will explore a model of multiculturalism called cultural humility. During this discussion, we will explore how living in a hegemonic American society can lead to some very common biases. We will hear from the founders of cultural humility about its 3 tenets. And finally, we will look at cultural humility along with other tools to discover and reflect on our bias. If you have any questions after this presentation, feel free to email me at nakia.mcwilliams@csun.edu. Let's start exploring cultural humility. Inequity is historical and makes up the foundation of most structures and institutions that our country is made of. We are fortunate that so many people want to see an end to inequity. However, most of us, change agents, want to start at action when it comes to creating change because of our desire to see the rapid results of our hard work. However, according to the change pyramid, change is a bottom-up process, and below actions comes beliefs and experiences. Let's take a moment to understand this bottom-up process that starts with experiences. What is an example of something simple you'd like to change about yourself? Maybe you are a procrastinator and you'd like to change this. What beliefs do you have that support this behavior? Maybe you believe that you perform better under pressure, and the act of procrastination provides the pressure that you need to do your best work. What experiences led you to this belief? Maybe you've procrastinated in the past and gotten the grades you've wanted. Maybe you hear people you admire or are close to stating this belief. Either way, our experiences surrounding procrastination turns into beliefs about procrastination, which leads to our action, or in this case, inaction, and results in us waiting until the last minute to get things done. To make change, we must start with our experiences, which may require gaining alternative perspectives. Our experiences have been historically based on one cultural standard and a binary standard of identity, while oppressing all others. There is no single oppressive group or race of people. We all support oppressive acts, policies, and beliefs when we do not actively engage in the elimination of oppression. Oppressed people is the result. Oppressive policies are the actions. Biases are based in beliefs. How we are socialized is where the experiences begin. To counter the status quo would require contesting current beliefs and experiences and creating alternative beliefs and experiences. Oppression takes place in many forms, between genders, between races, which includes hues of skin color and textures of hair, within class status, abilities, and religion. Unfortunately, this list goes on and on. Oppression often leads to more oppression, and in order to gain even the slightest bit of power, those that are oppressed will find ways to oppress others until there is an end to all oppression. To find that end, we must understand bias. Bias comes from our natural human tendency to categorize for decision-making. However, we need to remain conscious of when our bias becomes irrational and harmful to others. Here we will review 5 common bias to understand how we can all naturally fall into harmful behaviors. Acidity bias is the unconscious tendency to get along with others who are like us. it is easy to socialize and spend time with others who are not different. Halo effect bias. The tendency to think everything about a person is good because you like that person. Perception bias. The tendency to form stereotypes and assumptions which make it impossible to make objective judgments. Confirmation bias. The tendency for people to seek information that confirms pre-existing beliefs or assumptions. Groupthink bias. This bias occurs when people try too hard to fit into a particular group, either by mimicking others or holding back thoughts and opinions. This causes organizations to lose out on creativity and innovation. Cultural humility provides us with a guideline to mitigate our natural tendency to lean into our bias by asking us to do 3 things. 1. Commit to lifelong learning and critical self-reflection. To assist you in this self-reflection, I have linked a useful information processing tool called the Johari window that can be used to examine the feelings, views, and intentions you have about yourself and others. Harvard has constructed an additional tool to help you identify implicit social cognition called the Implicit Association Test. A link to this test can also be found in the description portion of this online event. 2. Recognize and challenge power imbalances. 3. Hold the institution accountable. Let's watch this brief explanation by the founders of this model. Please welcome Dr. Melanie Trevelyan and Nurse Jan Marie Garcia.
One word to describe cultural humility for me is love, actually. If I had to encapsulate cultural humility, or the whole concepts of cultural humility, it doesn't do it justice, but the word that I think of it is essence.
Escuchar.
Being. You.
Opening.
Receive. Compassion.
Love.
The principles of cultural humility offer one more framework to contribute to what has got to be our ultimate goal, yes? Our ultimate goal is that there will be a sense of equity, a sense of equality, and a kind of respect that we are driving forward.
Cultural humility is a multi-dimensional concept, and certainly Melanie Trevelyan and I conceptualized 3 dimensions.
The first is lifelong learning and critical self-reflection. And in that critical self-reflection, it is the understanding of how each of us, every single one of us, is a complicated, multidimensional human being. Each of us comes with our own histories and stories, our heritage, our point of view. You're looking at me now. I am very fair-skinned. When I was a little girl, my hair was blonde. My eyes are blue. People often tried to call me anything but African American. I have a history. My identity is rooted in that history. My parents gave me the knowledge of my own social identity, and my own experience in life has created that. I get to say who I am.
The second tenet, after self-reflection and ongoing lifelong learning and development, is this notion that we must mitigate the power imbalances, to recognize and mitigate the power imbalances that are inherent often in our clinician patient or clinician client or service provider community dynamics.
And then finally, the piece that I would offer that Jan and I feel people often either don't read or don't like, which is, and the institution has to model these principles as well.
again for joining me in this workshop presentation on exploring cultural humility. We were able to discuss what it would take to make change by starting with taking steps to counter hegemony, refusing to participate in and be complicit to oppressive behaviors and policies. By using cultural humility as a model, we would consistently analyze and understand who we are and how our biases are formed. By engaging in activities like the Johari window and the implicit association test, we would honestly learn and self-reflect on our own biases. This honest self-reflection would help us to counter and challenge power imbalances when they are recognized. They would also help us to find the courage to hold institutions accountable to their oppressive practices and policies when they are identified. Please let me know if you felt this workshop presentation was helpful to you by taking the evaluation that you can find in the description portion of this event. Thank you.